The photos she posted were a slap in the face, but not in the way you might think. It started like any other day, scrolling through social media with my morning coffee. As I flicked through the feed, something stopped me cold. A picture of her, my wife, laughing, wrapped up in the arms of her work partner, a man she spoke of often, maybe a little too often. The caption was some lighthearted joke about how they were living their best lives on vacation, while I was back at home, stuck with work and responsibilities. What she didn't know was that I had already seen enough. The countless little signs, the late-night messages, the way she'd gotten quieter when I asked her about him. Her online smile didn't surprise me. It just confirmed everything I already suspected. And I smiled, not out of spite, but out of something much more final. It was a knowing smile. The kind that comes when you stop reacting emotionally and start seeing things for what they really are. I didn't need to confront her. I didn't need to scream or shout or ask why. I simply acknowledged the truth. And then I decided it was time to stop pretending. I didn't call her out. I didn't respond. Instead, I let the silence grow. Every minute she spent basking in that photo, laughing with him, was another minute that built the wall between us. She was showing me, showing the world, exactly what she had chosen, and I wasn't going to fight for someone who had already made up her mind. I didn't need to ask if she was happy, if the thrill was worth it. Her actions said it all. Her carefree laugh in that photo wasn't about our life together. It was about her new reality. And for once, I understood she wasn't mine anymore. Instead of reacting with anger, I focused on what really mattered myself. The life I had put on hold for years. The hobbies I had abandoned, the work I had pushed aside, the friendships I had neglected. It didn't take long for me to see how much of my life I had let slip away trying to make our relationship work. But she had already moved on in every way that mattered. The weeks that followed were a mix of quiet detachment and clarity. I let her do whatever she wanted, but I never engaged in her games. I started building my life back up. Little by little, I found the person I used to be before I got lost in her needs, her demands, her unspoken expectations. It wasn't about getting revenge. It was about reclaiming what was mine, what I had forgotten in the chaos of trying to make someone else happy. I stopped responding to her calls. I didn't engage when she tried to send messages or left voicemails asking what was wrong. Instead, I focused on myself. I started exercising again. I began making time for friends. Slowly, I made my peace with what had happened. And then came the moment of truth. She returned, expecting things to be the same, assuming I would be waiting with open arms, ready to forgive and forget. But I didn't need to forgive her. I had already let go. When she walked back into the house, I didn't confront her. I didn't ask where she'd been or if she had learned anything. I didn't need to. I had already moved on. I told her I was filing for divorce. The look on her face was priceless. The person she thought she could take for granted wasn't standing in front of her anymore. The man she'd laughed at and dismissed had found his own voice, his own worth, and it wasn't wrapped up in her lies. I didn't need the validation of her apologies or regrets. I simply knew that I was done. I didn't need to prove anything to her or anyone else. I had found my peace. She left with the same quiet arrogance she'd arrived with, thinking she was entitled to my forgiveness, to my attention, but it was too late. I had already given myself the closure she never thought I would need. I didn't chase after her. I didn't beg for her love. Instead, I let her walk away. Because in the end, the one thing I had been seeking all along was not her approval, it was my own. As I sat in the quiet house, now filled with only my thoughts, I realized that I hadn't just lost her, I had gained myself back. And that was more than enough. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to follow for more stories.